How's everybody doing? Welcome to my channel. All right, so tonight we're going to take a look at the T25/2. This is an interesting tank destroyer. It gets a gun that's slightly better than the Hellcat's gun, but on a tier up, it's not much use. I don't want to say that. It's interesting. The whole setup of this tank is interesting. In fact, it kind of plays differently than most of the other tank destroyers in the American tank line. Even the Hellcat, which it is, of course, the predecessor, or the Hellcat's the predecessor of this T25 in the tank line. It's similar in some ways, but it's not much of an improvement, I guess, aside from it's larger and slower. The turret turns slowly like the Hellcat. The tank traverses slowly like the Hellcat. But it's still fairly mobile. And, you know, I got to say, when I first started this tank, I absolutely hated it. I couldn't do anything with it. But now that I've got a little bit over 100 battles in it, maybe even more, let's take a look. Actually, we'll start by looking at the service record. It's not good. It's not pretty. I have 130 battles, a 46% win rate, which is not very good. Averaging 479 experience per game. That's not very good either. But, yeah. That's what this does for me. But I will say this. In the last maybe week to 2 weeks, which is getting towards the end of the grind for me, all of a sudden, this tank started clicking. And I'm not sure what the difference was. You know, it's the same crew. Obviously, they've gotten a little bit better with their camouflage skills. But nothing's really changed that much in the crew. I think I just have kind of figured out how to play this tank. And really, what it boils down to is that this tank is basically a T-34-85 with a slightly better gun. That's right. Forget the Hellcat. It's a T-34-85 with a slightly better gun with a lot more penetration compared to the Soviet counterpart medium tanks. And about the same armor. And much better camouflage. So if you play it like a T-34-85, where you hang back for the beginning of the battle and you snipe, this tank will actually do it more successfully than the T-34-85, simply because it has better camo. Then you can move out and start into flanking action, and it has a decent amount of health to pull from. Not a ton. 850 is not a ton, but it's a decent pool of health. It's something that you can kind of count on with this tank. And you can take 2 or 3 hits if you're top tier. Now, if you're not top tier, and, you know, as in with any tank, you know, when you get into these bottom tier battles, you're probably only going to get hit once or twice and you're going to die. And that's, you know, that's typical. So one of the hard things that I had, it was really quite an adjustment, is that this gun, the top gun, is the 90mm AT. It's one step up from the Hellcat. And if we look at the stats here, this gun only gets 10 more penetration than the Hellcat. It fires maybe 1 additional round per 2 minutes, something like that. And it does the same amount of damage as the Hellcat gun. Well, usually when you jump up a tier, the tank destroyer's most important thing is the gun. Obviously, it doesn't have armor. What it does have is it has camo, and it has usually a gun that surpasses its tier. So, for example, the T25 AT has the same gun that the Tier 8 T32 heavy tank has. And not only that, but it fires it almost twice as fast. And so you have a really fast rate of fire gun with a Tier 8 gun. But not so with our T25/2. It's considered a Tier 8 gun, but it doesn't perform like a Tier 8 gun. Now, what it does perform like, interestingly enough, like I was saying, let's look at our Russian Tier 7 tanks, the KV-13. And the KV-13 uses the same gun as the T-43. Look at this. This one even has a slightly faster rate of fire, but you have 144 pen and 180 damage. So the Hellcat basically has a slightly, or the sorry, the T25-2 has a slightly better gun than the Tier 7 KV-13. So in a sense, it does make it like a tank destroyer gun, but it just, compared to the other Tier 7 tank destroyers, for example, the T25 AT with 198 pen and 320 damage, less rate of fire, obviously, but the gun is a much better gun overall. And then you have your AT7, which is a faster rate of fire and more penetration, way more penetration, slightly less damage, but on a much less mobile platform. So you kind of have a balancing act going on here. But once again, so this tank was hard for me to figure out. It's not that it's a bad tank. And my first impression was this thing is horrible. But that's not necessarily the case. You just have to learn how to use it. First of all, you have to learn how to take cover. If you fire a shot, as soon as you fire, back up and hide, because it takes long enough to reload the gun that you're not going to sit there and fire. You really have to take your time and, fire the gun, get hidden, give it the time it needs to reload, and then pick a different target or move back up and try to hit the same target, but don't sit there and let them peck at you. It doesn't work with this tank. You have to get out of the way or you will get sighted unless you're not spotted. And, I have 6th sense on this tank, so I can tell right away when I'm spotted. And as soon as I'm spotted, I get out of there. I don't even stick around. I just try to change position. So it's very similar to the Hellcat in that fashion. But, it could take, I feel like it takes a little more abuse than the Hellcat. It's kind of expensive to run. Obviously, I've been using all the big kits on it because I'm trying to reduce the amount of damage it takes when it gets hit. But I got to say, towards the end of its life here, I've really enjoyed this tank. And I want to keep it, but I realize I need the garage slot, sort of. And more than anything, I need the income because I'm going to be getting the T28 prototype. And I'm going to be selling both the T25 AT. And I think I'm also going to sell the T28. So I've kind of lost interest in the T95. I feel like I like the turreted tank destroyers better. So I'm going to go to the T30 instead. Kind of the same gun and maybe a platform. I like the T29 a lot. And I really loved the T32. So I feel like the T30 probably is going to be very similar to those tanks. It's got the same, turret setup with the soft body, heavy turret. And if it's played hull down, I probably will be very successful with it. So I think that's the route that I want to go. So I'm going to be going down to dumping the T28, forget the T95. And I'm just going to head for the T30 and then up to the, whatever is the one on the E4 or whatever. I don't know. The tier 10s I'm not that excited about because I don't have a ton of premium, like gold left for premium time. So I don't really plan on playing tier 10 too much. It's so expensive. But anyway, so with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at the stats of this tank. Once again, 850 hit points, a decent speed limit of 56 kilometers per hour, and it gets along pretty well. Where this tank gets hurt is that it has an 18 turret traverse. Man, if you break your turret ring, forget it. It's going to take forever to turn that turret. And it's also got a slow hull traverse, so it's not fast moving around. The armor is pretty much non-existent. You have a decent gun mantlet, though. I feel like I bounce a lot of shots off the front, just this upper part here. This is pretty reliable. But if you get hit here, it's soft. And anywhere, of course, on the front is soft. So you're 76 armor, 50 on the sides, 38 on the rear. And then, so once again, 76 on the front of the turret. 25s on the side and back. So it's almost like nothing. I mean, that's like a tier 1 tank armor. So, like I said, with this tank, it's going to be played a lot like the T-34-85 because, once again, the T-34-85 is just the same. No armor. Decent gun, decent accuracy, and this gun is very accurate. I actually really like the gun on this tank. Even though it doesn't have a lot of penetration, the accuracy is really good. So a lot of times you can weak spot things or hit them in their weak spots from a pretty good distance away. And so that helps it be a little better, but it was an adjustment. Believe me, when you're going after a tier 9 or like, let's say an IS-3, there are times when you're just not going to penetrate the front of that tank. And you have to try to hit weak spots, and you're not always going to have that opportunity. So that gets a little frustrating, but it's not a bad gun. So let's go ahead and take a look at the rest of the stats here, and then we'll get going. There's not a whole lot more to look at. Once again, you have pretty slow reload rate, 240 damage, 170 pen. You could boost that up to 258 with premium, and I do carry a couple rounds of ACPR, or I'm sorry, APCR, for when I get into a bind. Decent view range of 380, not great, but not bad, and a decent radio range. So now you can see here the crew. I have these guys almost all have camo, and the commander has some, like the to see further, and he's also got the Sixth Sense. And Deadeye does more damage, or does a better chance of critting. Obviously, this clutch breaking, I use that on a lot of stuff. And the Hellcat, the T25AT, or the T25-2, I'm sure the T28 is going to have a slow. The T28 prototype is going to have a slow traverse. So, obviously, clutch breaking is going to be a help there. Safe stowage. They're soft tanks. You want to keep from getting ammo racked if possible, and this does get ammo racked frequently. So yeah, so let's go ahead and run it into battle. I'm going to run one battle, and then I have a replay from this past week that I had where I had a really, really good battle when that was kind of when things started clicking for me. And so let's go ahead and run one, and then we will take a look at that replay, and I'll give you my final thoughts. Here we go. Okay, steps. I'm going to try to do a maneuver here. This could go really well. It could go really poorly. Maybe I won't. Yeah, I don't have enough guys going this way for it to work. We'll see what happens, but sometimes I'll push over across there. Can you see across there where that ridge is? If there's enough tanks over here, I'll scooch over there. Let's see what happens. Maybe I'll still get over there at some point. But then you can flank those tanks that are lined up against these rocks right here in front of me. Oh, man, he saw me way before I saw him. Now, see here, I'm going to back out. Artillery's probably going to be coming in here any second. So I'm going to try to make sure I don't hold still. Keep moving. And I'm spotted again. Dang it. There they are. I try to stay on the side of the hill. I know it doesn't always help, but it can help a little bit. It makes it harder for them to focus in on me. See that? I did not aim all the way. And that's one of the nice things about this gun. It's actually fast enough and accurate enough that a lot of times you don't have to aim all the way. Now, I wouldn't recommend that, but sometimes you have to shoot in the clutch like that, and this gun is able to do that. I'm surprised many times about the shots that I take and hit. And of course, I wasn't going to make that, but this also kind of shoots a slow round. It's not a fast-firing gun, or fast-moving bullet, I should say. It's kind of a slow bullet. So you definitely have to get used to that. I'm going to poke my head around here and see if I can get a jump on this KV. Can you hear me? I'm sorry, I was backed away from the mic for a second. Yeah, see, I ended up over here. But there's a lot of guys over here, so. New Churchill. He's got the stock turret. Poor dude. Yeah. He's mad at me. See how long it takes to reload, though? I mean, this is like eternity. It's starting to reap. Yep. Looks like we're going to have a good game right from the start. Sorry, I'm chewing a cough drop. Still got that cold. It's been 3 weeks, man. Oh. Nothing. Somebody will go rushing back there. Ooh. Man, where do these guys all go? I'm so used to having my XVM map mod. It's kind of weird not being able to see what I'm getting myself into. Oh, no, I thought he didn't see me, but he did. Cheery. Stupid. Nope, there goes my ammo rack. So this battle's going to cost some money. There we go. That just cost 20,000 smackaroos. Because I use that advanced toolkit. It costs a lot of money to repair. Yep. I can't believe that the artillery is still surviving. He's been running. Oh no, that's the M12. Okay, I thought it was the SU-122A or whatever. Let's see here. No. Yeah. We turfed their team, man. I feel like I didn't do much, but I've got 4 kills, so I must have been doing something. Okay. I'm just going to sit still. Yeah, I mean, look at those shots. I mean, that was right over that ridge. Oh, nice kill. I shot right over that ridge there with very little margin and made the kill, you know, and so this thing is just a wicked gun, man. And that's one of the things that I like about it. So even though it's not super high penetration, it does a lot of damage. Oh, yeah, and the gun depression is fairly good on this tank, too, so that's another big plus. Whoops. Yeah. Yeah, I almost had 5. Oh, well. Good game. Yep, so that's not a surprise there. It was a high caliber. I've gotten several high caliber battles in this tank, which is surprising with that gun. Wasn't a ton of damage. I will say the gun seems to average between 1,000, let's say 900 and 1,700 damage. That seems to be normally what I'm getting in a battle. Occasionally you'll have a nice 2,000 battle. But, yeah, I mean, I was the 4th tank down, but I'll tell you what, the last 3 days that I've been playing, I've been in the top 3 for probably 60 or 70% of the battles. Whether I'm bottom tiered or top tiered, it doesn't matter. I've been scoring really well with this tank. So it took me a long time to figure it out. Like I said, it's been over 100 battles to get to the point where I'm actually making money with it, and I'm actually making good experience and doing well with it. But you can see from that battle, I'm very comfortable with this tank now, and I'm really kind of sad. I don't really want to sell it, but I really need the crew for the T28 prototype, honestly, and so I have to bite the bullet and sell it. I will miss this tank, and at some point I probably will end up buying it back. Man. Anyway, let's go ahead and run the replay. All right, so we're joining the battle in action here. We're on Redshire, and I am playing with my clanmate, Soph, and then also my son, Mark, is driving a Tiger 1. Soph is in an E25. And they are off to seek fortunes elsewhere. I'm going to poke around here and do what I can. This, I believe, if I remember right, this is actually my mastery class badge in this tank. So this is the best battle I had in this tank still to this date. And it was also the battle where I got my mastery badge. Here you can see I'm starting out in a very T-34-85 fashion. I'm starting by sniping. Just like in the last battle. And that's how you kind of get an idea of where, regardless of where your tier is. And look where I'm you know, 3rd, 4th from the bottom, right? No, 5th. Nah, 4th now. You know, that's how you start regardless of where your tiering is. You start in the nether regions. You just hide and wait and see what appears, and then start picking targets that are easy targets, or you get side shots on, because you have to have side shots or you're not going to, you know, penetrate the front of a lot of these higher tier tanks. So you try to position yourself in a manner that's conducive to your team, and thankfully, because you have your turret and because you're fairly fast, you can relocate. It's not like the Dicker Max or, you know, some of these German or Soviet or American non-turreted tank destroyers. Relocating is very easy because of the turret and the speed. Pardon me. Yep. Tier 8. He sees me, but he's he can't stop because he's got all these tanks and he's realizing he needs to keep moving. He's in a really bad... Now he's thinking about it. Yeah. Yep. And see, I waited too long. I should have hid. I took the hit. I still have a lot of health left, but he's got a fast rate of fire. The Tiger does. So I need to... thankfully, he missed that shot. And they got him. Now, once again, with a DPM tank, you're not always going to be the top damage dealer on the... Or, I'm sorry, the top killer on your team. You might not get a top gun. But you can still score high because you might do a lot of damage to the team without killing anybody. You let your teammates clean up the mess, you know? But you make a mess for them, and it makes it easy for them to finish the opponents off. Luck shot right there. Can I do it again? Nope. Ah, but here's a big... And I have a T25. I know right where to hit him. Anywhere in the side or back. They've only got 50 armor in the side and back, so they might have a tough front, but... Alright. So I'm trying to stay to cover here. Taking a little different route than everybody else. Letting them do the spotting, and then I'll start taking shots once they're spotted. Sometimes you can spot with this tank because it does have a pretty good view range, but especially if you run, you know, binocs. Now, I'm not running the binocs. You know, I run the captain. I have eagle eye, so he can see, or whatever that perk is that allows you to see a little further. But the camouflage really is your friend. I mean, you want to be hidden as much as possible. Funny, I don't remember doing this at all. I see that 304 and man, I hate those things. And of course I'm spotted now, so the T69 knows I'm there. But Soph's going to come over the top. Oh, artillery hit me. And I think is he reloading? He might be reloading. I'm like, come on, Soph. Draw his attention. Oh. It's got a hard front. But I figure if I can draw his fire, get him to empty his clip, then I can start getting some shots into him. Oh. Ouch. He's coming after me, man. He's not happy. What is this T150 doing, man? Come on, Soph, get him. Yep. Keep them split like that, man, so they can't get any. Oh. I think he's still looking at Soph. Nope, he's looking my way. I got another game coming soon where Soph totally shoots all the way across the map to save my butt. Bye. Nope. Dang it. Come on, Sophie, kill him. Alright, well, I'm going to do it. Nope, Soph got him. Oh, so close. That FV 304 really wants to kill me, but thankfully somebody got him. Nice luck shot on the IS-3 there. Must have hit the side of his turret. Now Soph put one into him. And Mark just died. Mark does not have the best gun yet for the Tiger, so he has not really experienced the Tiger yet. He's still using the crappy short 88 with the 130 odd penetration that does no good on tier. There's the T-32 is dead. Aww. Oh well. It was a good run. So here we have our awesomeness. And it's, it's funny. Actually, that wasn't my mastery battle. That's funny. It was just a good battle. I thought it was, but oops. Maybe I don't. No, maybe I don't have my mastery badge. We'll have to go back and look. But you can see here I had a pretty decent victory there. And I got a high caliber award. You can see the list of all the tanks that I damaged. That was a tier 8 battle. Mostly tier 8, some tier 7. 3,000 damage. Yeah, look at that. That's what I wanted you to see. Yeah, so I did over 1,000 experience. That was not multiplied and non-premium. The standard account right there. And I did 3,000 damage. So it's possible in this tank. So let's go back to the garage here. There it is. I knew I had my M badge. Okay. So regardless of the M badge or not, I'm going to miss this tank. And I got to say, I like I said, I started out really hating it. And I don't have a great service record with it. But it's fun. And you saw from those 2 battles, it's a very flexible tank. It kind of is a jack of all trades. And you really can dish out the damage in the right situations. But you have to think a little bit differently. You can't take the paths that you normally take. And so this has been a stretch for me. And I think that it's helped me become a better player because I really think a little differently now. And this tank has kind of helped me flex a little bit and kind of push the limits of what can be done with a tank that has a low pen gun, quote unquote. And kind of helped me to break out of the mold of playing a tank destroyer like a tank destroyer and actually enjoying it like a medium tank. So I really do like this tank and I am going to miss it. So I hope you enjoyed the review. If you have a chance to get this tank, I think it's worthwhile. And I'm hoping that the T28 prototype is awesome sauce, but we'll find out here. So you guys have a great night, and please, be sure to leave your thoughts, comments below, and I will see you around the battlefield. Talk soon. Bye.